New ships, a completely revised Powerplay, updates 18 and 19, the end of the Thargoid War, plus additional new content coming out later in the year. 2024 then looks like it's going to be a big year for Elite Dangerous. These new details were revealed today on the new format livestream called Frontier Unlocked. Now, all of this seems to be a big turnaround for Elite. It's no secret that the past 2 years have been fairly sparse for those new updates and content for those who aren't fans of Thargoids or combat. Now, how all of this ultimately plays out is going to be an interesting question. Personally, I'm hopeful about all of this. It's a very good sign indeed. But given some of the past updates, I'm going to remain cautious at the same time. But that said, the information so far discussed sounds very good indeed. The whole thing then will kick off next month, with Update 18 releasing on Monday, the 26th of February. Previously, an Elite developer has said that this update will contain one of the coolest things they have ever done for the game. That might well be a subjective take, we'll have to wait and see. But the only thing we know with certainty, well, is a couple of things here, so skip the next 60 seconds if you don't want a spoiler. So I'll give you a few moments for that, and yep, for those of you still here, Update 18 marks the end of the Thargoid War. That is specifically the ability to get in there and take down the Thargoid Titans, completely destroy them. Now, Frontier are not going to reveal the details on how this works. They don't want to show anything about that. They want players to see that for themselves. But all the ways it goes, by the sounds of it, is that the Thargoid War is very much going to go out with a bang. Now, whether that means the Thargoids are going to be completely disappearing from the galaxy, thus removing all current Thargoid content, or will that content remain, but in a limited form, remains to be seen. But the way it sounds is that the Thargoid Titans will be disappearing, but just maybe some of the other content will still be there. Now, the rest of the year will also contain additional content updates, not least of which will be new ships. The first the game has received since 2018, in fact. Now, to be perfectly clear here, it looks like all of these are revised variants on existing ships. So that means a new Python Mark II, for example. We can see that on the screen right here. It's clearly very much a Python, but it's also decently and distinctly different enough that it should feel like a fresh ship. Now, each of these new ship variants will come with new stats and capabilities, and that means in terms of functionality, the Python Mark II should be quite different to the original. My impression on this is to think of the differences between the Phantom Crate and the Crate Mark II. Now, Frontier haven't given any other details on other ships coming. They say there's going to be a total of 4, I think, this year, at least so that's what they're saying at the moment. So details on the rest of the ships are going to be revealed later on. Now, moving on, later in the year, currently scheduled for the summer, is Update 19. This one should be a big deal because it finally delivers the key feature overhaul that Frontier promised way back in 2022. The update will focus on completely refactoring Powerplay. In fact, my impression is that it looks as though the original Powerplay is going to be completely removed from the game and replaced with a completely new version. Now, ultimately, Powerplay may not be something that you personally have played, and it's certainly not something I've ever got involved with myself, to be perfectly honest. But any key feature overhaul needed to touch on an area of the game that could potentially affect as many people as possible. Powerplay then certainly has that potential. It has the potential to affect missions, trading, combat, bounties, and of course much more. So really, it makes sense that Frontier looked at this area and this feature to overhaul. But that said, personally, I'd still like to see Frontier spend some time on a much needed rebalancing of the game. This could cover everything from ships and weapons to engineering and trading. Unfortunately, for now at least, it seems that isn't on the cards. Either way though, Powerplay really does have the potential to deliver something for most, if not all, players of the game. More details on this should be revealed later in the year. Also coming later in the year is another big update that Frontier, at the moment at least, aren't ready to reveal. At this point, I could perhaps speculate on what this could be, but it really doesn't feel like the right video or time to speculate on future content, so we'll leave that alone for another time. But either way, this is pretty interesting to hear because it means beyond Update 18 and Updates 19 and a brand new refactoring of Powerplay and new ships, there's also something else coming further in the year. Pretty intriguing, to say the least. So my takeaway from all of this then is that it looks like 2024 might well be a very good year for Elite Dangerous. All the signs from towards the end of last year might have had an effect on this. Frontier's poor financial performance, the ever-decreasing elite player numbers, the general disengagement from the game by a lot of the community, it was clear around September time that if Frontier didn't act, that ultimately the game was going to begin to fade away. So yeah, Frontier obviously looked at that and thought they perhaps wouldn't be a great thing for for Elite to go into decline. So I don't really know what went on internally at Frontier. My feeling though is that a few people in key places likely pushed very hard for Elite to get the attention that it actually deserves. Of course, all of that is just my opinion, it's just speculation on my part, so do take it with a pinch of salt. But it seems to me that yes, 2024 is going to be a very different direction and a very different take on Elite to 2022 and 2023. So either way, it seems that something probably happened. So what do you think about all of this information for Elite in this year? Are you looking forward to any of this? If so, what specifically? For my part, I'm really looking forward to finally seeing the end of the Thargoid War and Elite moving on to something fresh and new. Let me know your thoughts and feelings about all of this in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. Meanwhile, why not check out these other videos on the screen right here. I'll catch you next time.